Hey, what's up guys? Austin back here with another video. This video is going to be everything you need to know about jig fishing, from beginners to advanced tips to money saving tips to heads, everything you need to know. Alright, so let's go ahead and kick it off with different head types. Different head types that you may encounter is flipping heads, football heads, arky heads, and lastly a ball head. Now, all four of those have its time and place. Each one, and you may encounter a swim jig also, but each one of those has its time or place. So let's go ahead and start with the most simple one. The most simple one is the flipping head. Parentheses, flipping. It's in the name. It's meant to flip. Big thick hook, small profile head, very, very compact, and just meant to get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. You're usually using thick line, 20, 25 pound fluoro. Some people even throw braid. That's why they have that big, thick, meaty hook there. That way you ain't got to worry about hook setting too hard, putting too much pressure on him, and bending that hook out. Now, let's talk about something that is pretty much a forgotten about head, and that is the ball head. This right here is a Poor Boy Jigs ball head in a 5/16, 7 ounce. This is painted in kill shot because some people use it as swim bait heads also, or scoping heads, scoping with a fluke or a bigger style minibait. This goes great with the 4-inch swim baits, but you can also use this as a jig. That's what it was intended to be, but people just use it as a swim bait head now. But the ball head, it's one of them things that's forgotten about because you don't hear about it. It's one of those things that has a good place, but not a great place. A lot of people use them for finesse jigs like that right there. You often see them cut around the head. They can be flared out up here and real thin skirt. So that's where you usually see your ball heads utilized. Let's talk about a football head. Now, football head, I'm not talking about an NFL now, or the Kentucky Wildcats either. I'm talking about a jig head. So, football head. If you ever go into Walmart, take the time, go to the sports aisle, and look at a football. Turn it sideways, where pretty much corners over here, and you can get a good look at the whole football. Same thing here. It's football. Now, let's talk about an arky head. An arky head has been around since Hank Parker and Roland Martin and Bill Dance's ages. This was actually one of the first jigs to come out. Arky Lures actually made it, hence to why it's called the arky head, because Arky Lures made it. This little jig head right here is the only jig head out of here that is good for everything. You can fish timber, you can fish rock, you can fish like a swim jig, you can flip with it. You can do so many different things with that little guy right there. That little guy is flat out awesome. So let's talk about time and place. So you already know flipping. When I mean flipping, I'm talking about flipping grass, flipping trees, flipping bushes, stuff like that. The football head, that's mainly used for rocks. You can throw it on points, you can fish it on slide ins, you can fish it on red clay, pea gravel, boulders. That's awesome. The reason why is because it was designed to stand, well, if it will, it was designed to stand up like that right there. So when you're dragging that jig on the bottom and you hit a rock, especially with how Poor Boy Jigs did that eyelet in that head right there, is it's going to flip up like that right there and then slowly go back down. If you thus quiver your rod a little bit, it'll sit up again and it'll pretty much flow in the water like that. Your pinchers will be doing that right there. So that right there is mostly primarily used for rock. Like I said, your ball heads usually use more on your finesse style jigs, and the archy head is used for pretty much everything. But a lot of guys just use your archy heads now to skip with. The reason for that is how the head is. It just glides across the water. Okay, so let's talk about more of your beginner stuff here, since we've got everything why they are what they are and where to use them. So, how do I want to do this? I forgot what to say. But we will continue and come back to that at a later time, I guess. Oh, beginners. So if you have to have one head to throw anywhere around the country, one size, what would it be? Mine's going to be a 1/2 ounce archy head jig, and the reason for that is because, like I said, it's good for everything, great for nothing. Now, with jig fishing comes complexity, not only in heads, not only in hook size, not only in diameter. A lot of times you don't even know what size hook you are getting. It can be a 3/0, it can be a 2/0, it can be a 4/0, it can be a 5/0, it can even be an 8/0. A lot of times you don't even know what you're getting until you open it. Portable Jigs usually uses the 5/0. I think it's a 3279-8 black nickel by Mustad. If you want to look at that hook, it is a 3279-8 BLN, and that is in their ball head, football head, and archy head. So you are getting the same exact hook in all three of them. You know how it's going to penetrate. You know how long it is and everything like that. Now the flipping head utilizes a bigger, thicker hook, just because a bigger line. Now, we're going to come back to the complicated part in a minute, but let's go ahead and talk about a few simple colors that will get you started and get you to catching more fish. So everybody knows green pumpkin is a staple in anything. So see if it's a green pumpkin skirt here. It is not. Anyway, everyone knows a green pumpkin is a staple in any fisherman's book. This is as close to green pumpkin as I can find. And this color right here is called Oops. It's chartreuse brown with green pumpkin. So green pumpkin, like I've said, third time, is a absolute staple in fishing. Another staple is black and blue. I know it's old school, I know it's cringy, but black and blue is awesome. Those two colors alone you can get by with. But say you want 5 jigs to try. So green pumpkin, black and blue. Green pumpkin with orange. Really, really like that color. Okeechobee Crawl. This is more your mixture of green pumpkin and black and blue. It's like Hannah Montana said, you're getting the best of both worlds here. Because you got your blue, you got your black, and green pumpkin. It's flat out awesome. So, there's 4. Green pumpkin, black and blue, Okeechobee Crawl, and Orange Crush. Now, let's talk about you guys that is fishing ponds. That's mostly where a beginner starts, is ponds. Bluegill. You got your blue, green, black with orange. So, if I had to pick one color out of that batch, now I'm biased here, I'm not going to lie to you. The Orange Crush. Orange Crush is going to be my favorite. But on more of a realistic fisherman, I would probably pick the Okeechobee Crawl. The reason for it is, like I said, you get best of both worlds. You get black and blue on one spectrum and green pumpkin on another. That totally utilizes two different colors of trailers. You can throw a green pumpkin or you can throw black and blue. Now, let's talk about beginner style trailers. So, most people that's a beginner will hear about the chunk. Well, when you go to chunk aisle, you got two different kinds. Well, more than two. You've got the super chunk, you've got the finesse more chunk. Not finesse more, but it's more finesse. It's called the Super Chunk Junior. Or you get the big salty chunk. Don't waste your money on the chunks, because 9 times out of 10, if you're a beginner, you're not setting up trying to fish when it's 110 out or when it's 30 degrees. 9 times out of 10, you're fishing when it's that comfortable 70, 80 degree temperature. So get you a Strike King Rage Crawl. I know they are expensive, but go ahead and get you some. Or you can do like I do and get off the beaten path. This right here, Kitech Crazy Flapper. This is a 3.6 inch. You can use it as a finesse jig trailer, or you can use it on the back of your beefy jigs. So this right here, Kitech Crazy Flapper, is awesome. Now, Strike King, they utilize coffee scent. That's good. But what Kitech does is they utilize JDM stuff. They utilize squid scent. Squid scent stinks, folks. It does not smell good at all, but the fish love it. So my suggestion is going to be the Okeechobee Crawl jig, 1/2 ounce Arky head jig with the Kitech Crazy Flapper. Now, let's say you don't want to spend $6 on some trailers. Okay. Go to your friends over here at Net Bait. Get the Pack-A-Chunk. The Pack-A-Chunk, they make a Okeechobee Crawl color also. It'll be blue sapphire on one side and it'll be green pumpkin on the other, which really matches that skirt. So that's what I'd do. If I couldn't afford the Kitech Crazy Flappers, I'm going Net Bait Pack-A-Chunk, because you're not out there with 50, 60 trailers to pick from. You're out there with one jig and one crawl. That Net Bait Pack-A-Chunk paired up with some poor boy jigs, Okeechobee Crawl, Arky head jigs, gonna flat out get it done, son. Flat out get it done, son. All right, now let's talk about more your advanced. Well, let's back up. The beginners, I'm gonna throw that jig usually on a bait caster. But if you do not have a bait caster, which you probably do not, because you are a beginner, throw a 7-foot medium heavy spinning rod with a 2500 or a 3000 size reel, and take 15-pound monofilament Berkley Trilene line. The reason why you're doing that is because the Berkley Trilene, it is thicker. When it's thicker, it eliminates more stretch. Mono has stretch, but 9 times out of 10, you're a beginner. You're not going out here spending $20 on a spool of line that you're getting 200 yards that you may look at once, twice a year. That Berkley Trilane will flat out get it done. So, you've got your rod, you've got your reel, you've got your line, you've got your bait, your color, and your trailer. That's got you covered. Go ahead, go catch some fish. Now, let's talk about your more advanced techniques. Let's go with your flipping head. Your flipping head, 9 times out of 10, you're flipping muddy water. I keep it very, very, very simple. Either I'm throwing very, very bright or I'm throwing very, very dark. So, very, very bright, very, very dark. 2 colors. Instead of black and blue, instead of green pumpkin, I'm going to swap it out for more of a fire tiger deal or more your bluegill style deal. But one staple that everyone needs is that black and blue. That black and blue is awesome. Pair that up. Do not be afraid. If you are flipping, do not be afraid to go a little bit bigger. Because if you're flipping in the biggest, nastiest, munkiest, gunkiest crap you can find. So the places you'd normally throw your brush hog, your beavers, your creatures, try that jig. Instead of throwing that Texas rig in there, try that jig and see it happens. Now, a little money saving tip for you all. You can get the Berkley Power Bait. This right here is the Crazy Legs Chigger Crawl. Now, notice, taking it out of the pack, it's an odd looking dude. Now, it's 4 inches long. That's with the appendages. You're just going to rip these off here like so. Detach it, whatever you want to call it. Rip this off there, just like so. So, if you want to flip a Texas rig, go right ahead. But you can also put this on the back of your jig. Now, say you don't like these big long appendages right here, and say you want to go fish a point or drag a jig on the bottom, all you gotta do, big long appendages, pinch them off, detach them. Then you got a normal Berkley Power Bait Chigger Crawl. You can throw it on your wobble heads, you can throw it on your shaky heads, you can throw it on your Texas rigs, you can throw it on the back of your jigs. So that's us a little money saving tip for you all. Is try to find them that's a cross style bait but has appendages. Now let's talk about your football head. Because, well, let's back up. Let's go back to a flipping head real quick. So, flipping head, you're not wanting a big, wide bait. You can go longer, but you're not wanting it wide. Because, like I said, you're flipping it in the nastiest stuff you can find. That's where them big girls is going to lay. If you find a hole that's yay big, about the size of a pop can, ain't even needed. You may catch a fish out of there, but when you are flipping in something that you really have to pretty much work it through or flip it and make it go kaboom down in it, that's a fish that ain't saw bait. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to react to it. So don't be afraid to upsize your line flipping either, because that meaty hook, you need to penetrate it. I'm not talking to the guys that's throwing a jig on a spinning rod. I'm talking to the guys that's got the gear to flip with. That's 20, 25 pound line or a 17 pound line or even braid. That right there, throw 7'6", heavy rod, and a high ratio reel or a low ratio reel. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to get them out of that cover real quick, go with the faster ratio reel. 7.3 to 8.1, 8.5. They've even got 10s out now. But if you're a guy that likes the extra torque, that likes the extra drag power, lock that bad boy down, get you a 6.3 to 1, 6.4 to 1 ratio reel, pitch in there, and drag them out. Now, I use a 7.3 to 1. The reason for that is around here we don't have real thick cover. Yes, there's trees, but usually I can hook set and burn them out of there quick. Now, if you're looking for a real big bass, by all means, go lower, because the first thing he's going to do is go straight down in that gunk. You need to be able to have that drag power to bring him up, break branches, whatever you need to do to get that fish out. My 7.3 to 1 ratio has costed me a lot of big fish in the last year. I will tell you that. But that's got it covered for the flipping head. Let's talk about the football head. This is not meant to flip. It's meant more of a dragon style presentation. It's meant to fish boulders, chunk rock, red clay, pea gravel, points, slide ins, etc. So that football head, you're not going to need a big 7'6" heavy rod. You're going to need a 7 foot to 7'3" medium heavy rod. That's going to have you covered from 1/4 all the way up to 3/4. I'm not talking about the big guys that's fishing offshore on Kentucky Lake, where you're dragging ounces and 1.5 ounce jigs. That 7'3" rod, pair it with 15-pound fluorocarbon and a 7.5, 7.3, 8.1 to 1 reel, because you're not needing to burn them out of nothing. You just need to be able to fish comfortably. So whatever your favorite ratio reel is, if it's a 5.5 to 1, throw it on a 5.5 to 1. But I like that 7.3 to 7.5, not over 8.1 to 1, because when you're dragging, you're creating a whole lot of slack in your line. You need to be able to get that slack up fast enough that you can catch up with that fish, penetrate that hook through the weed guard, get that weed guard to bend down to penetrate that hook through the fish's mouth. That's why I like a faster ratio reel, because it allows me to do that. I won't miss as many fish. But like I said, if you like a 5.5 to 1, you like what you like. Try it. If it don't work, keep increasing your ratio till your hook set ratio goes through the roof. That's what that is meant for. But let's talk about your ball head now. Your ball head, like I mentioned before, usually is utilized for your more finesse techniques. If you haven't already, take that smaller head, that ball head, pair it with a more meaty trailer, like a Reaction Innovation Sweet Beaver, what is this even called again? Stroker Crawl. The 6 cent Stroker Crawl, something that has a fatter body. Take that little guy, take you some 15-pound line, 7 foot, 7.3 rod, and skip it up under your laydowns. All that bigger body of that bait is doing is allowing you to skip better. It's like skipping a rock. You don't try to get a rock that is a triangle. You try to get a rock that is more flat. Same way here. All it's adding is bulk, allowing it to be more flat, more buoyant in the water to skip further. Because anyone can take a rod and flip. You can flip 15 feet, 20 feet, 25, 30. But how many people's taking that jig and skipping it all the way back there to the bank and dragging it off there. Not many. And the ones that are is usually doing it on a spinning rod. So when they go to set the hook, it's not hardly penetrating. They'll catch, if they get 5 bites, they'll catch 2 of them. But wouldn't you rather get 5 bites and catch 4? I mean, that sounds like a whole lot more fun to me. But try that. And then let's talk about the Arky head. Once again, the Arky head's one of them that's good for everything, great for nothing. It don't really have its place that, hey, I need that Arky head like the football does. The football head, if you come to rock, you're just like, oh, I need that football head. If you come to a patch of grass that you're wanting to flip, you're just like, oh, I need that flipping head. But that Arky head will still need to be utilized, because sometimes it's places and things that you can do with that Arky head that you can't do with the others. That's why I still utilize it in my arsenal. Now, let's talk about trailers. So, your swim jigs, hint, hint, quotation marks, swim. So, usually you're trying to throw that swim jig around trees, around grass, around stuff that you don't really want to flip into. Or you're trying to cover water. That's where your swim baits come in. So, couple deals here you can throw is you can throw the Kitech. This here is a Fat Swing Impact. I would not recommend the 2.8 because it's not nearly big enough. Step that up to your 3.3, 3.8 like I'm getting ready to show you right here, and you have a lot better success. Okay, Storm Largo Shad. I'm actually out of these little guys, unfortunately, but I want to try them to see if it's better than Kitech, and I didn't much care for them. But the Storm Largo Shad in a 3-inch, you can throw that. You can throw the Googan Squad, Googan baits, whatever. I call them Goo Goo baits, but you can throw the Goo Goo baits. This 3.8, this here is in Magic Shad, which is their fancy name for smallmouth magic. They just didn't take the time to add the silver flake on the belly. They just did the silver. So you can throw Goo Goo. Now, say you don't want to spend $6 on swim baits. Okay, that's fair. Say you've tried all these other brands and they're too stiff, they ain't got action, they suck. Try Echo Pro Tungsten. These right here, 3.8. I utilize these in the springtime, especially, and the reason for that is in the springtime you're catching 20, 30, 40, 50 fish a day, throwing an Alabama rig like this, throwing a single swim bait, putting it on a swim bait head. These are a little bit more tougher, more durable plastic. They do not have salt, I do not think, but try these. Or you can support your local businesses and support them by purchasing their custom poured plastics. With a whole lot of salt, it really makes the bait softer, which is less durable. The less salt is more durable. So give Echo Pro a chance. You can get them at Tackle Warehouse. No, I am not affiliated with the company whatsoever. But you can also utilize these by picking up some ball head jig heads. I ain't talking about your little baby ones. I'm talking about some with a big 5/0 in them. 5/16, 7 ounce, and pair it up with that also. So you're really getting a 2-for-1 deal here. Man, I do not like how that was shown right there. Give me just a second. Try this again. There we go. Now it's straighter. But that guy right there will work. Now, say they will not eat the fat ones. Go over to Strike King. This is a Strike King KVD swimming shiner. This is a 4-inch bait. This is called gizzard shad. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 of these little guys for literally like $6. They're crazy expensive. But you can throw them on the ball heads. You can throw them on your underspins. You can throw them on the back of your spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, swim jigs, whatever. So you're not just buying trailers to throw on a swim jig. You're buying them, you can throw them on A-rigs, underspins, swim bait heads, whatever. Now, let's talk about creature style baits. I stay away from them unless I am trying to get them to cut them up. And what I mean by that is, like I showed before with the chigger crawl here. It ain't no need in me buying chigger crawls when it may be a situation, a scenario that I really want to throw more of a brush hog style bait with a lot of appendages, or what Goo Goo calls the trench hog. By the way, Goo Goo, once again, is Googan baits, but they're trench hog or something like that. Now, you can also throw twin tail grubs. Twin tail grubs work summertime and awesome in the wintertime. You can also throw the stroker crawl and stuff like that. Now, let's talk about getting on the natural path here. So most of your jig guys is throwing Strike King Rage Crawls. Strike King Rage Crawls is 100% the best jig trailer that's ever been put on the market. It works so well, has such a natural action in the water, and also it moves a crazy amount of water. So not only would you be utilizing the football head, but you're also utilizing water displacement. Not only would you be utilizing the Arky head, you'd also be utilizing water displacement. That's where you come in with a lot of different trailers. Like, for example, the Chunk is more of a do-nothing bait. It just adds bulk, versus your power bait chigger crawl, your net bait pack a chunk, your stroker crawl, your twin tail grub, your Kitech crazy flapper, or your rage crawl is utilizing water displacement, which is action of the lure. So pretty much you either got no kick, which is this, or you got crazy amount of kick, which is this. So that's where your trailers are really utilized. That's why it's very, very important to have a handful of trailers on hand. But let's talk about getting off of the beaten path and how you can do it, why you should do it. So if you're fishing and you're throwing that Strike King Rage Crawl and they just ain't biting it, throw something different. Throw the Kitech Crazy Flapper. This has a whole different action. It has a whole different scent. This utilizes squid scent. Strike King Rage Crawls or Rage utilizes coffee scent. It says it right on the pack. Squid, coffee, squid, coffee, coffee, squid, coffee, squid. Okay, now let's talk about adding bulk and getting off the beaten path. The Jean Lorraine, whatever. The Biffle Bug, it adds a lot of bulk to your jig. Now this in here, unfortunately, I'm going to have to throw away because the tail's all kinked up. You can see it right here. But look how bulky that jig is. It adds a crazy amount of bulk. So you can also throw your brush hogs. You can throw your brush hogs, your Goo Goo Bandito bugs, your Goo Goo trench hogs, and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, you got two ends of the spectrum. You've got bulk, you've got length. It's up to you to determine which one you're wanting in which scenario. Now, if you're wanting bulk, you can also throw the Reaction Innovation Skinny Beaver, the Kinky Beaver, and stuff like that. Now, if you're wanting more of a finesse style jig, by all means, put you a chunk on there. Put you the little 3-inch net bait pack a chunk on there. You can even put you a little Ned worm on there. Just something that does nothing is more of a finesse style jig. You're not trying to get a big bulky profile with a finesse jig. You're more wanting, hey, it's small, it's easy, eat me. This here is pretty much saying, hey, I'm fat, I'm big, you can eat me and not eat for a few days. Don't. So you got two ends of the spectrum, finesse or big and bulky. Now, it is a happy medium there. These is more your happy medium. They're not quite your mop jig yet. Now, with that being said, you've also got hair jigs, you've got float and fly jigs. We're not going to get into that today, and the reason for that is because those are usually utilized. Your float and fly hair jigs is usually utilized in the wintertime or by crappie fishermen. Your hair jigs is usually utilized in the summertime. So there you go, guys. Now, remember, with your flipping head, heavier line because it's thicker hook, heavier rod. Now, with your traditional jigs, pick you up some 15-pound line, fluorocarbon, 7'3" rod, 7:3-to-1 ratio reel to 7:5-to-1, and go out there and catch you some jig fish, guys. Nonetheless, be sure to check out Dogpatch Trading Post, Sun Tropic Outdoors, Kurt Singer Sunrise Outfitters for all your poor boy needs, or you can message me directly. Also, guys, thank each and every one of you all for watching this video and all my other ones. Yes, it's been a climb. It's been one of those things that it's really got to me. It's one of those things that I've really went back and forth with on doing. Is it even helping? Does people even like it or anything like that? But a lot of people, I don't go for the whole publicity. I don't even really share my YouTube at all. I mean, I'll tell somebody, hey, I have a YouTube channel, especially like a young kid or something. Or even if it's a guy that's getting into fishing. Because it's no need in paying for all these classes, all these schools and all this, when you can get on YouTube and find it for free. Fishing's supposed to be fun. Fishing's supposed to be something that you do with your kids, your family. It's something to get out and enjoy God's creation, which is nature. And just connect with nature on a whole different level. But nonetheless, guys, thank each and every one of you all for watching this. I hope y'all have a blessed day or night, whichever one you are watching this, and God bless you.